The new Stratagem in Helldivers 2 absolutely slaps. However, it seems some players just don't like it. It's pretty lame. I just want a new support weapon. I threw it, I mounted it, and I immediately died on it from a harvester. Okay, that one's kind of true. But after testing this bad boy out extensively, I've come to really like it personally. Yes, it's not a minigun like we have all been asking for and waiting for. Yes, Johan, I'm speaking to you right now. We need a minigun, like we really need a minigun. But either way, it's still really good. So how much does this new stratagem cost and how does it work? It costs 10,000 requisition slips, which is pretty decent. It's a stationary ballistic cover with a mounted grenade launcher, can protect multiple Helldivers from small arms fire. It's also medium armor pen, which isn't too bad really. It's very durable and can last a very long time too. But there's a catch, because after testing this out against every faction, this definitely has some upsides and downsides. Where it shines the most though seems to be the bugs. So let's start with the Illuminate. The cooling time is fast and the cooldown is even quicker, making this new stratagem a great defensive tool we could all use from time to time. It shreds through the Illuminate really well, destroying pretty much anything in its path, and it's really extremely good for clearing hordes quickly, and it can even take down elevated overseers if your aim is good. Funny enough though, man, this stratagem has a lot of ammo, and I mean a lot of ammo for what it's worth, so you won't to be scarce at all, which is really nice. The only big problem I have with this is harvesters. Yes, the guy at the start of the video was absolutely right. Harvesters will just take you down instantly once you deploy this stratagem, and unfortunately it can't take down harvesters either. So if you see yourself in a situation with many harvesters, let alone one, this will definitely be an issue, because it just does not do any damage whatsoever, which I do question why, since I can use many other standard primary weapons and still do damage on its weak points, yet this explosive grenade launcher for some reason just cannot seem to do damage to this thing. Maybe Arrowhead will change this once it's released fully, who knows I guess, but as of right now, that is how it works. Personally, I think this will perform really well on the bug front. After all, it holds a lot of ammo and firepower, which means it will for sure do probably the best against them, if anything. I'm actually curious to why they did not deploy it on the bug front really, since to me, in my opinion, it would work better with them. You definitely want to deploy this stratagem high up somewhere, or just in general before a gunfight. The worst thing you can do is deploy it when you are getting chased. It's kind of a no-brainer really, but I've made this mistake so much using it honestly, when you should just think beforehand, deploy it, and then use it. Maybe lure the enemies around to it if you're playing with a team, or if you're on your own, you can always get to an objective first, then throw it down, and then just blast away. Honestly, it's a really fun stratagem, and I'm liking it a lot so far. I do think you could just use a supply pack and a grenade launcher, and then use just mobile. So to me, I just don't understand this stratagem much. Like, maybe if it did have a minigun with a crap ton of ammo, it would be more admirable to most players, because if it's had medium armor penetration, at least people would probably want to use it more, especially if it's a new weapon and not something we already have in the game. I mean, imagine being able to detach a minigun from this thing, becoming mobile, you know, and even if you are a bit slower, I don't think many players would really care about that because of that trade-off, you know. I think it's a great stratagem overall, and is definitely handy on defend missions, if anything, specifically the defend assets, or basically take out as many Illuminate as possible, you know, those missions. But other than that, where does this stratagem stand? Because I only really reckon people will use this stratagem on those type of missions, and that's really it. Same with the Terminids and the Automatons, unless you had the option eventually to change up the weapons on it, like from a minigun to a grenade launcher or rockets. Maybe that's going a bit too far, but weapon customization eventually is coming to the game, so it could happen, just like with potentially customizing mechs. Now with the Automatons, this one is quite self-explanatory. However, it would not be the best stratagem to use really, mainly because it just does not take down heavy enemies such as Hulks or Striders. That being said, it can take down every light and medium enemy pretty damn easily, meaning when you're overwhelmed with bots, it can be handy to use. I do find though I get shot by rocket striders a lot, or hulks in general, which then ends up being a waste of a stratagem once it's destroyed. It's quite goodish with a team if you're grouped up defending in one place, because you can prioritise the hordes while your team takes down heavy enemies, but still you can get one shot pretty damn easily and then it's all over. The Terminids is where this thing really slaps though. It plows through them so easily. Every enemy seems to just get taken down pretty damn fast. Lights, mediums, heavies, it's possible if you hit their weak spots. Other than that though, it is not a quick takedown by any means, man, so just bear that in mind. You can take down nests pretty quickly, which is nice, and of course any bug holes. When you're playing with others, it is a solid pick, especially if you all set up defenses. But mid-gunfight getting surrounded by loads of enemies, it's not exactly the best choice to just throw down there and then. It's definitely a stratagem where you need to think before using it, if you're playing a mission that's not defensive specific, I mean. So as I said earlier, when going over the Illuminates, this is definitely going to be used heavily on defensive missions. Out of all factions though, testing everything completely against every enemy, it's best for the bugs 100%. I feel like it was made for them if anything. The Illuminates, it's fun too, but of course harvesters are a no-go, just like striders, so what's the point in using it for them? Unless it eventually got a buff, then it would be so much more useful. I think though a grenade incendiary launcher would be better personally for the Illuminates, since that would do fire damage, in turn damaging harvesters over time, and if you can't inflict damage immediately with the grenade launcher against the harvesters, this would pretty much solve that problem. Like with anything though, it comes with positives and negatives, and it can be utilised on all fronts if thought about, but it literally is a defensive placement. It's in the name, and with it being equipped with a grenade launcher that's not heavy armor penetrating, it's only really going to be useful against hordes of light and medium targets. Even though I tested most of this playing solo, I still would not recommend it, and it definitely would not be my first choice. On the other hand though, for a team, it would be really handy for defensive missions. Now there's a few things I want to quickly mention about the stratagem that you may not know. So if you throw down a Tesla tower in front of the stratagem, it will actually protect you. Funny enough, it sounds a bit corny, but it actually works. So you got to try this in game yourself. It actually works. So this against the bugs would be a perfect match, honestly. It also can save you from a 500 kg, which is also quite mad to think about. Anyway guys, what do you think of this new stratagem in the game? Drop a comment below. My final thoughts, it's not a bad stratagem by any means. If used correctly, it can really do a great job at defending your position. It's a team style stratagem, not something really wildly used for playing solo. So thanks for watching, Helldivers. Until next time, go and conquer the galaxy for managed democracy, and I will see you in the next video.